I guess I've always been attracted to water, at least unconsciously. It's part of my past, present, and I'm guessing my future. There's no way around it. I just accept it. This is why I was captivated with the Red River in our first encounter in my second day in Winnipeg. I was unable to get close to it, so it remained as a mystery in my head. What secrets does this river hold? After visiting the city even more, I discovered that the river surrounds a great part of it. It's like it not only holds the city, but also its past, present, and of course, future. I wonder if the people think of the river in that way. It's a historical landmark. What place does it take in the life of a Winnipegger?
I grew up in a city full of diversity, a city with a complicated and controversial history, a city where poverty runs the streets, a city where the rivers run through it, forcing everything to shift and grow around it, a city with pollution and waste. I grew up walking along the river, skating and admiring, but below its surface lies dark secrets, plagued waters, a graveyard for the vulnerable, a river that looks so dirty you expect fish to come floating to the top, or bodies. We try to remember those who are lost and forgotten, missing and murdered. We often lose sight of the big picture. Although my view can be biased, I know that there is a problem, and I also know that I am unaware of the whole truth.
Well, we're at the Forks in downtown Winnipeg, so this is where the Assiniboine River here comes into the Red River over there. That's why it's called the Forks. The meeting place, right, where historically where people gathered, and so it's a really important historic site.
Candy Bestie is an aquatic toxicologist who is currently a professor at the University of Winnipeg. We chose her because her main passion is for water, something she discovered at the age of 19, same age as me.
And I think we have a lot of environmental issues with respect to climate change and how that's going to impact water resources in the future. One of the most common misconceptions is that the Red River is like this highly polluted, highly toxic, nasty river because it looks red, right? So they're thinking that's pollution. It just carries a high sediment load, and so the majority of what it looks like is because of that sediment load. It's just natural sediment. That being said, we do have certainly pollution issues. Absolutely. We have all sorts of pollution issues, and in the city itself, some of those are related, of course, to sewage, and there's all sorts of interesting stories that can and should be told on water justice issues locally here, and pretty much all of them are involving Indigenous communities and past wrongs that are in the process of or in need of righting. But we are moving, and we're moving, I think, relatively quickly now. I think there's a lot of people who are really getting it and understanding. So I see a lot of potential for the future, and I'm hopeful for the future. We need to understand what's going on with the environment so that we can actually all make positive actions, and getting youth active and inspiring youth to be active in the field of environmental activism and just taking responsibility for what we do on the planet.
As a newcomer, it's normal to see everything with love goggles. This is how I saw the Red River. In a way, I'm actually grateful that it is imperfect, because that means it's real, like back home. I may not be able to swim in this river, but I'm able to walk on it, something that would be impossible for me in Mexico. No place, no city is ever perfect, and that's because of its inhabitants. Maybe we should stop blaming the natural landmark and look at humanity.
After being enlightened by Candy, I can see how I've made assumptions. After having seen her passion for change and her knowledge, I have a newfound appreciation for where I live and the people who live here. The pill is easier to swallow when I know there are others who care and are willing to see past the headlines and work towards positive change. Not to say that I'm the only one that knows the problem, but I know that sometimes it's easier to stay ignorant. I know it can be less painful to be unaware of the whole truth. But if you stay afraid of the truth, the possibility for change ceases to exist.